The uproar is deafening, and the frustration is boiling over. Across the WNBA universe, fans have had enough. The latest outrage: a brutal and reckless play by Jacy Sheldon that targeted none other than Caitlin Clark, women's basketball's most valuable player and the league's greatest draw. What looked like a blatant attack has now sparked a tidal wave of anger, and fans are calling for the one thing that might actually make a difference: financial punishment that hurts. From Twitter to TikTok, the outrage is spreading like wildfire. Posts demanding accountability have overtaken sports forums, with hashtags like Ban Jacy Sheldon trending in real time. Fans are demanding a suspension, not just a slap on the wrist, but a real, wallet-emptying, career-checking suspension that sends a crystal-clear message to the rest of the league. If the referees refuse to step up and protect Caitlin Clark on the court, then it's time for the league office to enforce justice from the top down. The moment that reignited this firestorm happened during a supposed routine matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Instead, it became yet another horrifying chapter in the saga of Caitlin Clark being systematically targeted. And this time, the incident was so overtly dirty that even the most casual fans couldn't ignore it. Clark and Jacy Sheldon. There is a legitimate hatred there. If you guys have heard this Ohio State team, this 2023 Ohio State team, hated that Iowa team. This is Jacy Sheldon, who was Caitlin Clark's direct matchup in these games. Like I tweeted out, forget Angel Fred Dijonay, this is Caitlin Clark's one true rival. Jacy Sheldon didn't just reach in on defense. She lunged and jabbed her fingers directly into Caitlin Clark's eye with surgical malice, grinning like she just won a carnival prize. The smoke afterward sent chills through fans everywhere. This wasn't a clumsy reach-in. This wasn't hustle gone wrong. This was targeted, deliberate, and carried out against the single player who's carrying the league on her back right now. And it didn't stop there. As Clark stumbled and reeled from the eye poke, Sheldon continued her attack, grabbing Clark's arm and digging her nails in. A cheap shot with no basketball value, no intention of going for the ball. And just when it looked like things couldn't get worse, here came Marina Mabrey from behind, using the moment to blindside Clark with a shove that sent her crashing to the hardwood. And where were the refs in all of this? Watching, blinking, sipping invisible tea like nothing happened. Fans immediately responded with the fury of a crowd that's been ignored for far too long. Within hours, Sheldon's social media was buried under a wave of criticism, and the internet lit up with calls for suspensions, fines, and bans. Some were angry, others heartbroken, but all agreed something had to be done. Sheldon wasn't being treated like a fierce competitor. She was being called out as a bitter agitator who had no business targeting the face of the league with dirty plays. Mainstream media even jumped in. Late-night hosts and sports personalities couldn't ignore it either. Jimmy Fallon took a break from jokes to send a serious message on national television. Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs. Enough is enough. Meanwhile, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports torched the Connecticut duo, branding Sheldon and Mabrey as jealous loser punks who should be playing rec league ball, not sharing a professional court with someone like Clark. That level of heat doesn't come unless the public sees something deeply wrong. But to understand why this moment hit such a nerve, you have to understand what Caitlin Clark means to the WNBA. She isn't just a star, she's the economic engine powering the league's growth. According to Dr. Ryan Brewer, a finance expert from Indiana University Columbus, Clark was responsible for an eye-popping 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity in her rookie season. That's over a quarter of the league's revenue driven by a single player, who, by the way, was making just $76,535. Think that's wild? Brewer estimates that Clark is on track to generate close to $1 billion in economic value for the WNBA in 2025 alone. That's not a typo. That's not marketing hype. That's $1 billion impact, and it makes her arguably the most important player in the history of women's basketball. So, the idea that she's being targeted and unprotected on a nightly basis isn't just wrong, it's insane. It's business malpractice when a player has that much influence on league visibility, ticket sales, TV ratings, and sponsor interest. Allowing her to be assaulted without serious consequences isn't just a bad look, it's a catastrophic failure. If this were any other sport with any other league, there would be ejections, fines, suspensions, and statements by sunrise. Yet here we are, with Clark being hunted on the court, while referees shrug and the league quietly shuffles paperwork. The WNBA's handling of the Jacy Sheldon incident has left fans shaking their heads in disbelief. Sheldon received a mere flagrant 1 foul, barely a slap on the wrist, for what fans are calling a blatant attack on Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham, the only player with the guts to actually stand up for Clark, was hit with a flagrant 2 and an additional fine on top of that. Let's get this straight. Attack the face of the league and pay a fine, but defend her and suffer double the punishment? It's like punishing a firefighter for putting out a fire while letting the arsonist off with a warning. This has been a very contentious 12 hours since the game. A lot of people on ESPN saying ridiculous things, like Monica McNutt saying she had no problem with Maria Mabry's foul. And I look at that in comparison to the Sophie Cunningham foul, which I have seen people say has no place in the league, unsportsmanlike, when that actually is a lot more sportsmanlike than the Marina Mabrey one. Marina Mabrey was completely disconnected from the play, had nothing to do with it. There was no play even going on when Marina Mabrey did that. And fans, they're not just mad, they're mobilizing. Online petitions demanding harsher penalties for violent fouls have racked up thousands of signatures in record time. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, have lit up with outrage. Fans aren't just venting, they're proposing concrete reforms. Many are calling for fines in the range of tens of thousands of dollars, saying that anything less than a month's salary isn't a real consequence. Some are even suggesting that part of those fines should go directly to Clark as a form of restitution for the repeated physical abuse she's endured on the court. And honestly, the logic tracks. Think about it. If that eye poke had actually injured Clark's vision, the WNBA wouldn't just be down a star. They'd be hemorrhaging millions in potential revenue. She's not just a player. She's the engine that's driving ticket sales, boosting TV ratings, and emptying merchandise shelves. Every time she steps onto the court, arenas fill up, TV viewership spikes, and local economies benefit. It's the kind of draw you can't fake or replicate, and yet the league continues to treat her like she's expendable. Let's talk numbers. The Indiana Fever saw their franchise valuation skyrocket from $90 million to $340 million, and it's no mystery who made that happen. Caitlin Clark. Let that sink in. And then think about the fact that Jacy Sheldon's punishment for trying to take out that billion-dollar asset was essentially couch change. It's not just insulting, it's negligent, reckless, and short-sighted beyond belief. And the conversation is shifting. Fans aren't just calling for Sheldon's suspension anymore. They're demanding that Clark receive direct financial compensation for the beating she's taken this season. And they're not wrong. Clark's salary is sitting at a paltry $78,000, while she's responsible for nearly $1 billion in league revenue. That's an ROI any Fortune 500 company would dream of. And yet, the league is letting that golden goose get clobbered game after game. They're reaping the rewards of her presence but refusing to provide the most basic protections. Here's one proposal making the rounds. A protection bonus system. Every time a player commits a flagrant foul against Clark, a portion of their salary should be automatically redirected to her. Another option. The league itself steps up and provides Clark with bonus compensation for enduring what amounts to open season targeting. With everything she brings to the table, financially, culturally, and competitively, it would be both just and strategic. She shouldn't have to rely on public outrage to get the justice she's owed. Let's get serious. If the WNBA cared even a little about protecting its billion-dollar investment, the punishment system would look very different. We're not talking chump change. Real deterrence would mean minimum fines of $25,000 for actions like Sheldon's. That's about a quarter of what many players make in a season. Now that's a fine that makes you think before launching into dirty play. Repeat offenders? Fans want $50,000 plus in automatic multi-game suspensions. The point is simple. Respect the superstar or face serious consequences. What's fueling the fire even more is the blatant inconsistency from the refs. Over and over again, clear fouls are ignored, violent hits are brushed off, and Clark is left absorbing the punishment while the instigators skate by. And when someone finally steps up to defend her, they're the ones who get penalized. It's a backward system that's incentivizing the exact kind of dangerous behavior that could end Clark's career prematurely. How can anyone call this a professional league when its most marketable star is treated like a tackling dummy? Let's be blunt. This environment the league is fostering, it's not just unfair, It's unsafe. Caitlin Clark is being left out to dry by the people who should be protecting her the most. If things don't change, the risk isn't just losing her to injury, it's losing her to a different league entirely. European clubs are already lurking, ready to offer her better pay, better treatment, and most importantly, better protection. The WNBA is flirting with disaster, and they might not get another chance to make it right. There's jealousy, there is hate. Everyone in the league seems to hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is making the league relevant. If I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would say, start your own pro basketball league for women. I don't know why she benefits from the WNBA at all. She could go out. She is the draw for women's basketball and set up her own league. She might even be able to own the majority of the league. She could probably become a billionaire. Set it up with far fewer teams. You play far fewer games. Heck, they did it with Live Golf. I think the audience would follow Caitlin Clark wherever she goes. There's still time to fix this, but the solution requires the WNBA to face a hard truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the cornerstone of their future. And until they start treating her like it, with real consequences for cheap shots and real rewards for her impact, they're playing a dangerous game of roulette with their own survival. Sheldon's fine should be at least $25,000, and she should be sitting out several games. Clark deserves a compensation system that reflects her value, and any referee who fails to protect her should be held accountable or replaced.